North Central taking the homecoming match 77-0 over North Park. And up next, Wheaton. Head coach Jeff Thorne on to talk about that looming battle. And also Sharmore, Clarke, and Tommy Hyland talk a little cooking. We've got all that and more next on the Red Zone.
The presenting sponsor of the Red Zone is Athletico, the preferred provider of physical therapy and athletic training for North Central College.
Welcome into the Cardinal room for the Red Zone. Head coach Jeff Thorne on set, and 77-0 the final. There's a lot, and there's also little to talk about with a performance like that. But let's start with the efficiency of Brock Rutter in the offense. 17 throws, 16 completions. That one incompletion just got away.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of an overthrow. He knew it right away.
Exactly
but
right.
Yeah, he's just playing at a really high level.
And those receivers are, shaking free. There was busted coverage, but the Andrew Kaminsky cut-up field blew me away. This receiving core is it's pretty spectacular, isn't it?
They're off to a really good start. Now they're going to get challenged this week in a different way. Wheaton College's defense. It's going to be a lot of fun. Their defense is ranked #1 in the country in scoring and in total, and our offense is ranked #1 in scoring and in total and in 3 other categories. So they're going to get tested like they've never been tested before, and that's the exciting part of the game.
Yep.
You got a young freshman and a couple first-year starters, and then Drew, and they performed really, really well, and they've got great chemistry with Brock right now, and he trusts them, and I think at the end of the day, that's what's most important.
Now, I know you pay attention to efficiency stats, third down completions, moving the football, but is it fun as a coach knowing that your guys are among the nation leaders in individual stats as well? Is there any focus on that?
Yeah, you're happy for them.
Right.
It doesn't really have a big bearing on us as a program. We're not going into a season thinking, hey, we got to make so-and-so a national leader. It's how are we going to go about winning games, for the program and putting a great product on the field for the college and our alums and things like that. When those things happen, it's pretty exciting. You get excited for the kid because it's something he can take within the rest of his life.
Yeah. Now, before we move, I want to talk about defensive coaches in a second, but I just realized the new scoreboard. What are your thoughts on that guy?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's really, really exciting to have something like that. I think it'll really transform the game day experience for fans, for our players, certainly recruits who come to see games. I think it's going to be a real difference maker for us.
I think after one of the Jake Johnson touchdowns late in the game, he realized somebody tapped him and goes, "You're on the scoreboard right now." He looks up, he kind of waves like, "Hi." That's kind of fun.
Yeah, it is. And then we'll have replay going on there as well. So it's really a great addition. We've had the older scoreboard since we got here in 2002. So to have kind of an up-to-date scoreboard is pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, defensive coaches. So Shane Durkin was a standout player, and it seems like he's getting more and more comfortable in that defensive coordinator role, maybe even being more aggressive and knowing when to be aggressive with blitzing and certain packages.
Was one of the best players we've ever had here,
Yeah.
and certainly one of the best leaders we ever had. He and Matt Wanger stick out in terms of their intensity. I don't know if we've had players in all 18 years who carry the same intensity level as those two guys.
Interesting.
Was a first-team All-American. He's still the career leader in interceptions here. Comes from a football family. His dad played in the NFL, and older brother played at Purdue. And he's a Tiger. So, he played at Wheaton South, my alma mater, where my dad had coached for so many years. So, a lot in common, and he's pretty serious about football. He works his tail off and holds people accountable, holds himself accountable. That's the most important thing. So I couldn't be happier with, who's running our defense, who's leading that group.
How much conversation do you have with Shane about maybe the way he's drawing up game plans on a week-to-week basis?
Yeah, that's something that we do every week.
Yeah.
Just bouncing ideas off each other, and he comes to me with the final product. And it's rare that I will say, well, I don't like that. But if there's something that I'm not comfortable with, we'll talk about it. And if he's got a good case for why we need to do it, then we're going to do it.
Yeah.
But we've got a really good relationship, good working relationship with Shane and the entire defensive staff.
He's intense, but he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Tim Janicek, speak of intense. He's just a bundle of energy, and he always seems to be laser focused on something. How nice is it to have somebody like that who will kind of dictate the energy of your linemen?
It's invaluable. because it goes beyond that. TJ runs our strength and conditioning program, and that's a tireless job. He's here 3-4 days a week at about 4:45 or 4:45 in the morning, maybe earlier. but he's a creature of habit, and he holds, again, another guy that holds himself accountable to a really high standard.
Yeah.
And it's a great example to our players, but his energy level is irreplaceable. His loyalty is beyond reproach. I mean, I could go down the list of our coaches. They're just great people, and they're so much fun to be around.
I think I'd be pretty fit if Janicek was the one who was running my workouts.
Yeah.
He seems like he'd be pretty
You don't
good.
have a choice. Yeah, you really don't. I mean, I worked out with him for a long time, and I haven't in a while. But in the matter of 6 months, I was as strong as I've been since college.
Wow.
Following I just did what he said.
Yeah.
And it works.
I want to check the tape next, but we're going to take a break. We'll be right back on the Red Zone.
This Red Zone segment is brought to you by Arena Americas, specialists in providing full-service rental solutions for events and special occasions of all sizes.
Welcome back, and now it's time to check the tape, and I want to start with Ben Wong.
Yeah.
This is a guy that has done an amazing job this year at the middle linebacker position, and the play that we want to talk about is the one where he stuffs the running back for a loss, and he just seemed to kind of very patiently bounce down the line and then fill this gap.
That's something we've stressed, extensively over the last couple of years, is slowing our linebackers down at times, and Ben has really been taken to that, and it makes a difference. You can't overcommit, and overrun plays and give up cutback opportunities for running backs. So Ben has really been coming along. He's having a great year, off to a great start. We're 3 games in, and we hope to see that continued improvement from him.
Why is that? So you mentioned the cutback lane for running backs, but why is it so important to make sure you fill your gap and not just pursue, quote unquote, the play?
Well, defensively, you have to be gap sound. Everybody's got to have a gap that they're responsible for, and you want to build a fence. We talk about that. And from a linebacking standpoint, the game has changed so much. So with the RPO concepts, the run-pass options, where people are running a running play, okay, and they're reading a particular player. Well, a lot of times the linebackers are the ones that they're reading or putting in conflict, and if they're too fast to overcommit, the quarterback's going to pull the ball out and replace that linebacker with a receiver. And if you're playing zone coverage behind that, that's a vacated zone, so it's a really easy pitch and catch scenario. So the game has really evolved over the last 4, 5, 6 years to where every position on defense in particular, you have to rethink your philosophy.
So you kind of have to disguise your disguise when you're a linebacker.
Yeah. I mean, and just we talk about hold your water.
Yeah.
Just have some patience too. You can still get there and make your play. Trust your teammates.
Yeah. Football is such a complicated game, especially nowadays when there's so many options to run. Second play, Zach Garrett's touchdown run. Now, this is a guy that's, maybe 3rd or 4th on the depth chart, but he looked fantastic on Saturday.
Yeah, he looked great.
And the offensive line did a good job blocking this.
Yeah, I really hoped to have that opportunity to get him in the end zone. That was his first touchdown, then he goes ahead and gets another one.
Yeah.
But he's been so close for the last 2 years. Takes the ball all the way down to the goal line with long runs in our zone game, and we get to the goal line, and he just can't quite get it in. So it was really neat to see him get in the end zone, and both were fantastic runs.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Third play I want to get to is the Storm Simmons tip and then the Tim Mayerhofer interception.
Yeah.
And I've seen the linebackers practice the drill. I think basically everybody the tip drill, but it's different to see it come to fruition on the field.
Yeah, great job by Storm, just getting into his zone and then getting hands on the football. And Tim really, it was fun to watch that in person. Then you see it on tape. He really got off the ground to high point that thing. So it's exactly what you work on during the week in practice, working our turnover circuit.
Yep.
It's always nice to see that happen. It's a big part of the game, turnovers.
All right, let's change the focus to Wheaton. And you touched on it in the first segment a little bit, how the dynamic between the top-ranked defense and now the top-ranked offense.
Yeah.
But your defense, I think, is 7th or 8th in the country in points allowed or something to that.
Yeah, we're ranked highly. There's 2 or 3 different categories where we're in the top 5 defensively as well. So really proud of that and what our defense is doing. But I don't know how many times in the conference's history, if ever, you've had a situation where 2 top 10 teams are playing each other and they've got the top-ranked offense and the top-ranked defense in multiple categories. So it really is, this is going to be a special game against Wheaton. It's a little bit different. There's a lot riding on this one, as always, but just that national exposure of where we're at, both offensively and defensively, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Only ranked game between two ranked teams this week, so a lot of the tension will be on this game. But we've seen this team evolve over the years. Shola Olatasia was the star of that team for a few years. He's gone. Curtis McWilliams was the quarterback that kind of steered the ship last year. He's gone. So what are the playmakers on this team this year?
They had a running back last year who wasn't with the team. He was with them as a freshman, and I don't know why, but he's back.
Okay.
TJ Williams, dynamic player. He's really talented, a lot of speed. Their offensive line is mammoth. I mean, they're huge. And on the outside, they've got some really good receivers, too, that are back. They were returning starters. So their offense has a lot of weapons. And when you have a defense as good as theirs, oftentimes the offense goes unnoticed, but they're very, very talented. We got our hands full with their offense, and certainly we already addressed their defense.
Yeah. Let's finish with this, the quick hit. And we're going to go way back when.
Yeah.
And we're going to get a lesson that you might have learned from elementary school and middle school that still kind of sticks out to you.
Yeah, I went to private school all through elementary school, St. John Lutheran in Wheaton, and you had a lunchbox. I always had a really cool lunchbox. My mom got me the NFL lunchbox. I had a cool thermos so I could have hot soup if I wanted it. Yeah. She took care of me. Well, I went to a public junior high in 6th grade, and the first day I get out of the car, and I'm carrying a lunchbox with NFL helmets on it. And needless to say, there were plenty of older kids who made fun of the fact that in 6th grade I was carrying a lunchbox. So it was the last day I did that, but a lesson learned. Be done with the lunchbox at a really, really early age.
First and last day with the lunchbox.
Yes, my kids didn't carry lunchboxes. I took care of them.
They learned from you.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, good luck against Wheaton, and
Thanks,
we're really looking forward to it.
So are we. Thanks.
Awesome. Coming up next, we'll go to the Cardinal Corner. We'll be right back on the Red Zone.
Stay up to date on what's happening in our neighborhoods and schools, at City Hall, and all across town with NCTV 17 News Update. Emailed directly to your inbox once a day, Monday through Friday, this 2-minute video not only tells you the latest news, but shows it to you.
And that's what's happening right here in Naperville.
And the best part, it's free. So sign up today at nctv17.com/subscribe.
This Red Zone segment is sponsored by Belgio's Catering.
Hello guys, it's Tyrone Suggs here with my man, my best friend, former teammate, Montay Logan.
What's up?
Today's segment is going to be Big Man on the Move. As you can see, I can't drive, so I allowed Montay to do his thing today.
Hey. What's up?
Don't worry if we crash. It's on Coast Storm's insurance plan.
I got it, bro.
All right, man. Well, first things first, Montay, dude, I just want to congratulate you, dog.
Thank you.
6 years at North Central.
Yeah, it's been a great time, honestly. A great experience for being around this program, and just soaking in the culture. This is one of the best experiences I had in my life. Coming from a background, coming from Chicago, that's I'm just appreciative every day about the people I'm surrounded by, and the type of guys that these guys kind of influenced me to be. I'm looking forward to what's to come in the future, but I best believe that I have all my hope in these dudes, and that they instilled in the right things in me.
Some powerful words, man. And for those for context at home, Montay Logan was a two-star athlete here at North Central for his undergrad, and now he's getting his master's degree here at North Central. And Montay, you've won conference titles as a player and now officially as a coach.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel in the context of just being here for 6 years, seeing the culture change over the time and just everything that's new? How does that make you feel as an individual, as a man?
The culture in itself, staying around this, just kind of continue to kind of feed into the success that I want to have happen in my life.
Yes, sir.
It's helping me prosper in my field that I want to pretty much, as a profession, I want to go into, as a coach, as a mentor. I just want to be able to kind of talk to players and talk to the younger athletes.
Welcome back into the Red Zone. A couple of big guys joining me on set. Tommy, Hyland, Sharmore, Clarke. Thanks for joining me, guys. Big week of prep, but let's start last week and talk about this game against North Park. Tommy, I want to start with you. You had a whole bunch of tackle for losses in this one. Was it fun getting after that offense and trying to, wreak some havoc in the backfield?
Yeah, it was a really fun day for everybody. We got to let our 2s and 3s get in, and they did a phenomenal job of what we would say like playing to our standard and playing like tough, physical, fast football. So it was a really good day overall, and we were just glad to see some of our hard work come into fruition. So
sometimes in those games, late in the fourth quarter, the other team will get a score and kind of ruins the shutout vibes. Were you happy you came away with that big old goose egg?
Yeah, very happy. We kind of talked about that a little bit during the week, just like getting the 2s and 3s more reps and telling those guys that they're just important as we are when it comes to keeping that shutout on the board, and we're really proud of them and really happy for them that they were able to accomplish that on Saturday. So it was a big deal for us, and I know our coaches are really happy about that too.
That was fun to watch. Sharmore, you guys, obviously Ethan and Terrence are the big running backs in the backfield, but Zach Garrett comes in, Rafael Rios comes in. These guys are running behind you guys. Was it fun to see those particular players, let's say in particular Zach Garrett, run for those big touchdowns?
Yeah, it's really fun seeing Zippy in the end zone. He works his living tail off. Zippy, that's his that's how this is nickname for him. But it's exciting seeing him in the end zone. He works really hard, and we all know that when Zippy gets his chance, he goes full speed and don't look back to anything. He's really a good player, and we love him. Love having those guys behind us running.
Offensive line seems like it's gelling pretty good this year. You've got some veterans, you've got some young guys. We talked about a post game. Jeff Thorne is in the middle and trying to anchor that line as a freshman, which I know you have experience with. Have you shared any wisdom with him on how to start as a freshman and carry yourself?
Not really. I usually use like the motivational talk to Ricky because he's like the big dog. So we usually just tell him like play your heart out and just accept your role and go do it. And he's done exactly that. He's been working and been learning from Nate, and he's just attacking it, and he's embracing his role.
Now, I've heard a lot of things, Tommy, about how you're one of the more vocal leaders on the defense, and you're not even a senior yet. So how has that kind of enabled you to be a leader on that defense and kind of be that vocal force?
I would say just the other guys like giving me the opportunity to speak when things need to be said. I've just kind of always been like a friendly, like vocal person my whole life, and I'm like not scared to talk or talk to anybody. So I think that kind of helps. But just trying to be the guy that can bring that spark when we need it, and just be able to kind of be a little bit like a source of motivation and stuff like that to get guys fired up when we need it. It's been really cool to be able to do that, and I appreciate the guys for letting me be that guy.
Now, Sharmore, you and I have talked quite a bit over the last few years, and you're a very quiet, calm person. But on the football field, you are one of the most fearsome competitors. How do you flip that switch?
I don't know. Whenever I'm out there, it's just go time. It's just time to go, and I just clear my mind, and it's just everything's just on the field. I try to lay everything down for my teammates and for my brothers, because I know what it's like to lose, and I don't want to be the guy that let everybody down.
So you're you could just come across as very zen. Do you get into like a mindset before the game? Do you listen to music? Do you get like pumped up?
I listen to music, but most of all, I listen to this. I read this paraphrase that my O-lineman coach shared with me in high school, and it's basically like the rules of an O-lineman, like what you're giving up and what you're getting back. Because as an O-lineman, like we really don't get rewarded, but like the effort and the work that we put in helps so many people on the team, like getting their rhythm, and the quarterback can't throw without us and stuff like that. So when I read that, it's just time to go, and I'm locked in.
That's fascinating. That's really cool. Talk about a thankless job a lot of times is defensive tackle. You guys consume double teams. You don't always pad your stats, but you are there in the middle, and you're freeing other guys up to make some plays. You and Isaiah, what is it like playing next to a guy like Isaiah, knowing that both of you could be consuming 4 offensive linemen between the two of you?
It's awesome. He's a character. I love being around him every day. He's a really, really hardworking kid, very humble kid, and and he's extremely talented, and he does a really good job at just doing his 111th and his part of the defense. And I think he's going to continue to see his role kind of increase because he's been making a lot of plays and doing a lot of things the right way. So I'm really happy to be able to play next to a guy like that and be teammates with him. And it's been a fun ride so far.
Last year you got your pick. This year he got his. What was the excitement level there?
Oh, we were all so happy. He might have been more excited than anybody, but I know Coach and me and all the other guys were super excited just to see him kind of chugging with the ball. It was funny, but it was a really good play by him, good play by Danny. So it's just kind of like how it's been so far this year, just like a lot of guys being selfless, and it ends up making plays for other people. So,
who's got the best hands on the offensive line?
Ooh, might have to go to Gerard.
Really?
Yeah. Recently, like every snap he'll take, he'll like, Brock, throw it at me, Brock. Just snag it.
That's pretty awesome. All right, you guys ready for the quick hits?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, we got some difficult ones, but some fun ones. We'll start with this one. If you have a Madden rating, we'll start with Tommy first. If you had a Madden rating, what is your best stat?
I would say awareness.
Ooh,
like on the
all right.
field awareness, just knowing my surroundings and like recognizing certain formations, plays, like blocks, stuff like that. I would say that would probably be
That's
like
how you
my
got the pick
rating.
last year.
Yeah.
Dropping back into coverage.
Yep.
Sharmore, how about you?
I'll probably say run blocking. I pride myself on run blocking. So,
Sharmore, we'll start with you on this one. You say you cook, but is there a secret ingredient in the best dish that you cook?
I'll probably say like when I'm baking with my mom, I think we put like tons of butter in my like whenever we're making like fruit cake and anything.
Yeah, butter makes everything better.
For sure.
Definitely for sure.
I would kind of go with the baking thing too. I'm not really me, but my mom, like when she bakes cookies and stuff, she always adds like a little bit of salt to them.
Ooh.
I don't know what it does or how, but they're the best. So
salted chocolate's good. I
Yep.
like that stuff. Nice. All right, last one. Tommy, we'll start with you. Is there a lesson or a fact that sticks out when you think back to like elementary or middle school?
I would say something that I learned from a teacher in like 6th grade. She said somebody's always watching, like whether that's good or bad. People are always observing you and like the way you carry yourself and your actions. And that's kind of something that's always stuck with me. Just like anybody could be watching, could be someone looking up to you or something along those lines. So just carry yourself the right way all the time.
That's pretty cool. Nice. Sharmore?
I would say just like always being friendly with like one another. Like in like middle school, I feel like that's the most important time to like make friends and like create social cues and like stuff like that.
Interesting. Well, guys, best of luck against Wheaton. It's going to be a really fun game. Hopefully we chat next week and you guys are on the other side of a victory.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for swinging by. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we'll go to the play of the game. We'll be right back on the Red Zone.
This Red Zone segment is brought to you by Jimmy John's.
For a third week in a row, we have a receiver doing special things for the play of the game. This time it's the freshman D'Lo Hardy who's so smooth, he's making guys miss in the open field from point-blank range. The 43-yard run is the Red Zone's play of the game.
Welcome back into the Cardinal Room. Clarke Tusher with me on set. And Clarke, there's a lot of festivities this past weekend, but taking the cake, and I think a lot of people were impressed. The new scoreboard really looked fantastic.
Yeah, you know, the product itself is really remarkable. The capabilities that we have now that you know are brand new to really all of us, including those of us who were charged with operating that equipment that day. You know, and just kind of the way things came together. It was really kind of a stressful week with you know, not only having access to that equipment really for about 48 hours before debuting it publicly, and then not having the Crosstown Classic game to work out any bugs that we might have been able to anticipate. So really, to workshop a product like that in front of 3,500 people and another 1,700 online, it was a little unnerving. I'll be honest, but we have a great team in our staff that was able to pull it off and really gravitated to the different things that that equipment can do. So we're pretty excited to see, how we can kind of grow and develop that and take better advantage of it.
How about a win for the men's soccer team over Wheaton, ranked in the country? I think number 19 in the country. North Central takes them down. That is a huge win for this new coaching regime and this new team.
Yeah, and didn't look real good in the first half. Trailing 2-0 after a couple of really spectacular goals that were scored by Wheaton. Every time you go up there to Joe Bean Stadium and play them, you're in for a tall order. And give the guys credit. They kept at it. They kept plugging away and got the game time goal to send it into overtime with just a little bit to spare. And then wound up getting the golden goal at the end. Alexis Flores, who they really lean on the offensive end, came through in a big way, scored all 3 goals. We've only beaten Wheaton in soccer, men's soccer, 5 times since 1980, and including the last 2 years in a row. So that's definitely a step forward for the program, and we're hoping they can continue that into conference play.
The women's team also had a comeback win, a pretty impressive effort in their own right.
Also by a score of 3-2 on the weekend, the conference opener down at Milliken. We're trailing very late in the game, scored with less than 2 minutes to go to push it into overtime, and then we're able to pull it off. So we're always glad to see teams start conference play on the right foot like that, and it should be a real energizer as they really get into the meat of their conference schedule this month.
Now, the football team started conference 2 weeks ago with WashU. They have rolled through those first 2 games, but as the case was last year, Wheaton comes really early in the season. What's the kind of feeling in the building going into this Wheaton week?
It's a lot of anticipation. Everybody's really looking forward to it. I think both sides are. It really is one of those matchups where you can throw out all of the records and the stats and all that kind of stuff, and you really don't know what's going to happen until they get onto the field. The players enjoy it. The alumni enjoy it. Fans enjoy it. And it's really a real signature rivalry throughout all of Division III that I think a lot of people around the country are going to have their eyes on. So it's exciting.
Let's get to the Hall of Fame, because we touched on it last week, but you actually were able to put them into the Hall of Fame this past weekend. What was the ceremony like, and how fun was that?
Well, for people who don't know, we do this in Wentz Concert Hall. The Saturday morning of homecoming weekend, and each of the inductees has a video presentation that includes someone who can speak to their experience at North Central, talking about them and why they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and then they get to give an acceptance speech, and it's an emotional time for a lot of them, and I think we saw that again on Saturday, as it should be. I think particularly that resonates with people who have been away from campus for a while, and that certainly was no different this time around. We had a great crowd. The sports that are represented among the inductees, our coaches do a great job of making sure that their programs, as long as they're able to, make sure that they attend the event and show their support. And we definitely really enjoyed that a lot. And we also have a tradition of recognizing all of the inductees prior to the start of the football game that afternoon as well. They really got a great reception from the crowd that was at the football game, and deservedly so. It was really a great event. It's one of the signature events that North Central College does.
I think the weather held out too, so that day was almost completely perfect, especially with the 77-0 score.
Yeah, I think if you were going to script it, that a lot of it probably would have held pretty close to that script.
All right, we'll get you out of here on the quick hit. And a lot of times you can't exactly script what's going on in the kitchen, but I want to get your secret ingredient to your best cooked dish.
I make pork carnitas. I use whatever pork tenderloin or shoulder or whatever is available. It's one of those things I put in a crock pot and cook it all day.
Yep.
The cooking liquid, that's the secret ingredient, because I reserve that and create a sauce out of that with lime zest, orange zest, and some other ingredients, and then I can use that in any number of different dishes later. I've made it with Asian food, Indian food, any other different things that we might need kind of a base of a sauce for. It turns into a pretty versatile dish. So I can make a week's worth of different things out of that. So that's the secret one right there.
Well, if you turn it in the stat book, I think you can open up your own restaurant. That sounds pretty good.
Well, it's always good to have choices.
Right? Clarke, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode of The Red Zone. Wheaton up next for the battle for the Little Brass Bell. Join us next week for The Red Zone. Until next time, I'm Kevin Jackman.